Second time in, what, 3 years of running of this race. It looks like we're in for an extended period of a fog delay. And we did get going bang on time, and that bizarre moment where the pole position BMW headed into pit road, it was on the wrong tyres, and Dan Harper needing to change the Michelin rubber. He did eventually return to the racetrack, but behind a big collection of SP9s that unbelievably got through the Yokohama S unharmed and unfazed. Last thing you want to do is go piling into a competitor at the first corner of a 24-hour race, and we managed to escape that. We were treated to an absolute wonderful arm wrestle, though, between Augusto Farfus and Kevin Estre in the early stages. Estre in Grello, the green and white Porsche, and one of the Rover Racing BMWs. The Fabian Schiller Mercedes, the front wheels certainly leaving the road as it got the pincer movement from Ricardo Feller on the right, and the car that was really in the wars, Vincent Cole in the number 5 Porsche. He was just left to throw his arms up into the air. What on earth happened there? This horror show for Sheldon van der Linde at the bottom of the foxhole, and as he was about to emerge into the clearing at Adenauer Forest, that was a huge incident as well for another car involved in the crash. But Sheldon van der Linde out on the spot in the 99 BMW. But Rover then moving all of their eggs to the other basket, and car number 98 will begin this overnight pause in 6th position. But BMWs have looked strong across the piece, including the Harper, Hesse and Wertz number 72 car, which will have this overnight phase in 2nd position, eventually making it to pit road. The Scherer Sport PHX Audi needing to do an extra lap under the red flag with Christopher Mies at the wheel, and he will take over that car eventually from Frank Stippler. But every single time a car came into pit lane, the big question on everybody's lips was, what tyres are they going to go for now? Would it be the cut slick? Would it be the fully treaded wet weather tyre, or would they be brave enough to go out on the slicks? And that tightrope that so many teams have had to walk. The 911 car still very much in contention. Meanwhile, in one of the lower order classes, Christophe Dupre with a frightening moment as his Audi burst into flames at Brunchen into the nighttime hours, and thankfully he was able to get out of the left side of the car where his driving position was. That was obviously a fuel rail popping, and the Inferno breaking free on the right side of the car. He tried his level best to fan the flames, but that just meant that they spread even more, and the Audi in the end, certainly down one side of the car, was burnt to a crisp. If they're going to sell that on, they'll have to make sure all the photographs are taken on the left-hand side. Ayhancan Guven and the Audi in number 16 were side by side on the run towards Arenberg. I think Schwedenkreuz actually, and the Turkish driver high and wide. We thought he'd taken the lead at this point, but then Stippler later on the brakes into Arenberg somehow kept it out of the gravel trap, but so much over rotation from the Audi at the time, and Stippler eventually would come in. I say eventually, this was a much shorter stint than we were expecting after only 4 laps to hand over to Christopher Mies, who was the driver at the time of the red flag. And then Mies pulled off some stellar overtakes after that. More pit stops for some of the key runners. So the nose-to-tail fight, Arjun Maini in his Mercedes for Bilstein, Dan Harper the meat in the sandwich, and Christopher Mies would pick off the Ulsterman first of all, then be slightly later on the brakes, skimming the wheel arches again at Arenberg. If you've chosen that position as a spectator point this weekend, you've certainly got value for money, because there have been so many key passes there. And then on the run up through Klostertal and Kesselchen, the BMW will haul his way back past again before Christopher Mies, a couple of laps later, down the Dottinger Hohe, was able to nip by just before Antonius Bucher. But as we reach the time of 23 minutes past the 23rd hour, 11 o'clock, the red flag would come out, and we're now told that we will receive further news at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. A rare chance to sleep, and we'll bring you an update in the early hours. From Bruce Jones and Johnny Palmer and Davey Avema, it's goodbye for now.